After the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission met to demote Chief Alfonso Morales, they stayed behind closed doors for another 20 minutes. We don't know what they did or said, which appears to be a violation of Wisconsin state law. Either have to be public and airing what's happening, or they have to be out here, or they have to be available to the public.
Oh, I'll knock on the door.
Payday loan businesses are all over the country. There are about 23,000 open right now. That's almost double the amount of McDonald's open across the nation.
We can get it done.
It's pretty easy. So you'll forward them the link, and then it will say in there, and you'll say, go to Q10, and that's the information. If you're going to be transparent with the public, how are you not going to address the video or show the video? How many of you guys have seen kids vaping in high school? Hands up. How many of you have seen 8th graders vape? One straw kind of sounds like no big deal. 5 straws, now we're dealing with a bit of a chunk of plastic here, but one restaurant tells us they used to have 5,000 straws every month. When you think of Poochkies, you might just think of the delicious donut you bite into, but start to finish, the whole process takes 3 hours.
Relief could be coming for parents desperately searching for baby formula. Rebecca Klopf going in depth now on the Defense Production Act and what it means for those families in need.
Stephanie Braun did not anticipate she would be spending the days of her maternity leave trying to feed her baby. Yesterday, she spent hours searching for formula.
At first, I'm like, okay, I'll just keep trying. I'll go to another store, but by store 12, 13, I'm like, you stare at the shelf like, okay, this is getting old. I need to find something for my son to eat.
How long were you looking yesterday?
It was a good 5 hours, 5.5, driving around. I started in Franklin and ended in Menominee Falls.
Stephanie, just like thousands of American families, relies on formula to feed her child. The formula shortage comes after Abbott Nutrition issued a massive voluntary recall and had to temporarily close its Michigan plant in February. Last night, the president enacted the Defense Production Act to help with the shortage. The White House says this will force suppliers to give needed resources to formula manufacturers before any other customer. I talked to Marquette economics professor Abdur Chaudhry about it.
Those who supply ingredients that are used in baby formula, they have to produce and supply those ingredients to the baby formula producer on a priority basis before they sell it to other customers.
I think what parents want to know is how soon are they going to see a difference?
It happens quite quickly. I would say within a week or two.
He says that, along with steps the FDA announced, will help. The FDA and Abbott Nutrition agreed to a plan to reopen the Michigan plant. That could happen as soon as next week. Plus, the FDA announced guidance that will allow major manufacturers to import formula not being produced for the U.S. market. The president also launched a program called Operation Fly Formula, which will import formula from abroad using military aircraft, but the details of that have not yet been released. Reporting in Menominee Falls, Rebecca Klopf, TMJ4 News.
New at 6 o'clock tonight, a Racine woman along with a dozen other people are trying to figure out where all their money went after investing their life savings in what they thought was a safe retirement plan.
Yeah, Rebecca Klopf goes in depth on this legal case and what you need to be aware of for your own future.
When it comes to planning for your retirement, a financial advisor could also be a friend. But a Racine woman says the man she trusted left her with nothing. Diane Laundrie worked since she was a teenager. She saved and invested everything she could for her eventual retirement. But in 2012, her lawyer, who's speaking on Diane's behalf, tells us that retirement came much earlier than expected.
She had broken her back and learned that she could no longer work, and wanted to make sure that the funds she had in her 401k were in a secure account, because she quickly was learning that was all of the wealth she was going to amass in her lifetime. due to her disability.
Diane turned to her longtime tax preparer, Michael Kusha, a man she considered a friend, for advice. According to a lawsuit filed against Kusha's estate by Diane, Kusha advised her, Laundry, to remove money from her 401k account and invest in My IRA LLC.
He represented to her that, this was a secure investment, that there was no risk of loss, that there was a guarantee of 5% interest per year. And so, after years and years of friendship and going to him for tax advice, she trusted his advice.
In November 2020, Kusha died suddenly when Diane went to find out the state of her retirement.
She learned that there were no assets.
She also learned she wasn't alone.
Based on my review of the probate file, it does seem that there are other people who specifically pulled their money out of 401k plans, but there's a big range. Some people invested $5,000, some people invested $200,000.
Court records showed there is a total of nearly $1 million in investments, but only $200,000 in assets in Kusha's estate.
So My IRA LLC, does that exist?
Well, now it's been administratively dissolved after his death, but it did exist.
We reached out to the attorneys who represent Kusha's estate, and they declined to do an interview. The Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions Enforcement Bureau says there are things you should watch out for when it comes to investing your money. First off, if someone promises no risk, that's a major red flag.
When you invest your money in something, it means you're going to take a risk in exchange for getting a return. Of course, there's no guarantee.
Other things to be on the lookout for: high-pressure sales tactics, time limits on the investment, a business model that's vague or confusing, lack of audited financial records, and no disclosure documents. It's also important to find out if the person watching over your investments is trained and licensed.
Investors can call our office and we can tell them whether that person is a registrant, either as an investment advisor or a broker-dealer. And if they're not registered and they're trying to sell you a security, I would be very suspicious of that person.
For Diane and the others who invested in Kusha's business, they now are waiting on the courts to see if any of their retirement will be returned to them. But Diane is worried her life savings is gone.
I do know that she, with her disability and her pension, she's getting by. But again, it's, the car breaks down, the furnace breaks down, somebody has a medical emergency, she really doesn't have anything to fall back on now.
The state of Wisconsin does have a way to check on the people you invest your money with. We have both a phone number and a link in this story at TMJ4.com. I'm Rebecca Klopf reporting TMJ4 News. Steve and Katie, these women paid more than $1,000 for services ranging from videography to DJs. Some of them ended up with other people's videos, while others got nothing. This is part of Sarah Tim's wedding video, a bride and groom dancing with their guests at their reception. The problem? That's not Heather. She's one of 3 brides who says an Appleton man who runs a videography company is ripping off women.
To have someone intentionally mislead you and take advantage of you and change that memory for you somewhat is really sad.
She paid $1,200 to Scott Socket for a wedding video that was supposed to include her ceremony. She even kicked in another $300 to have them come early for a first look, the moment the bride and groom first see each other, for a total of $1,500. These clips of Heather and her husband dancing and the wedding toast was what she ended up with, along with video of 2 other weddings.
We want to have this video of these moments that we can hear and feel again that are more than just photos.
When did you realize he wasn't coming to your wedding?
About an hour before our ceremonies.
Michelle Heck doesn't even have a video to remember her big day. She says Socket didn't show up to her wedding like she paid him to do.
I was getting my makeup done and kind of texting him, saying I was getting nervous, having a feeling that I didn't think he was going to come. And that's when I realized this is all a lie, that he's not going to be coming.
I just don't understand how a person who seemed so normal can be so malicious.
Alexandra Mosier dealt with a similar situation. She says Socket sold her 4 different wedding services and only one followed through.
I believe it was $1,400, and that was going to pay for uplighting, videography, photo booth, and DJ.
Only the DJ showed up.
Did you think this deal is too good to be true?
I did. I thought it for a second, but I had nothing to go lean back on.
Alexandra says she realized something was wrong as she was standing at the altar.
Saying the vows that commit you two to each other for the rest of your life, you're thinking, where's the guy I'm paying?
Yeah, it was, I will still be forever grateful for that because, I'm still so grateful that I'm married to my best friend. It's the best thing in the world. But it sucks to have to look back and just think about that.
Alexandra and Heather filed a lawsuit against Socket in small claims court. Both won their money back, plus court fines. So far, they haven't gotten any of it. We went to Socket's house to ask him why he's not paying them back. He didn't answer the door, but he did talk to us over the phone.
My name is Rebecca Klopf. I'm a reporter with TMJ4.
His answer to the lawsuits?
We are currently in the process of trying to get everybody's refund back to them.
9 different people took Socket to court. 8 were founded. 1 case was dismissed. A judge ordered Socket to return more than $14,000. Socket says a majority of the people who sued him are canceled contracts. According to court records, a judge found in favor of a woman canceling because Socket misrepresented his work.
For any of the women that actually had us booked, take into consideration that half of the people so far that we've seen online that say that we didn't show up or and stuff like that were never actually customers or clients of ours.
Socket says a competitor is writing bad reviews and trying to ruin his reputation. These women disagree.
He can't explain all of us away that we're trying to take advantage of him or make him look bad, because there is a lot of us.
He says he's working on paying you.
I have also heard that several times.
Yep. Every weekend, I think we're getting paid. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm getting my next weekend, Thursday. It's in the mail.
Are you angry?
I am. Yeah. Very angry.
Socket told us over the phone he has many happy customers. He said he would email us a list. We have not heard back. These women say they checked popular websites for reviews and never saw any issues. We've posted those links to TMJ4.com. Rebecca Klopf, today's TMJ4. Back to you.
New at 10, a West Allis woman sent a federal stimulus check that she cannot cash.
And in a rush to get stimulus payments out as fast as possible, the IRS sent some of the money to people who had died, including this woman's husband.
So what should she do with the check? Rebecca Klopf gets some answers.
Ramel Wilson is having an incredibly difficult year. The 79-year-old West Allis woman lost her husband in January after a battle with cancer. She fell and broke her back and is now home during this pandemic, trying to figure out how to take care of their bills by herself.
I was married to that man 58 years. I met him when I was 4. Now what?
She thought help had come when her stimulus check arrived, but there was a problem.
I received a check, which is made out to my husband and myself.
The advice the IRS had been giving was to void the check and send it back. If it was made out to a deceased person, they will issue you a new check. But Ramel is worried that won't happen.
If I send it, are they going to toss it aside?
So we went back to the IRS and asked again, what should someone do if they have a joint check made out to both spouses and one is deceased? They emailed a new answer. Cash the check and write a new check to the government for half, which we told Ramel.
But the directions now changed.
In Ramel's case, she got the standard amount for her stimulus for joint filers, $2,400. So she should write a check for half, $1,200. A check she says she's ready to write.
We can get it done.
Ramel's story is not over. She contacted her bank tonight and they are still refusing to cash her check until they learn more about this rule change. We're going to be following up with her and her bank. Now, if you know anyone who's facing a similar issue, we're going to be putting all that information we got from the IRS on our website, TMJ4.com. Reporting outside the IRS, Rebecca Klopf, TMJ4 News.